So the table is beginning to look like a total mess. I'm still able to concentrate and understand what's going on, but I'm not sure there's any value for watching. But anyhow, let's take a look at what's going on. I'll start with Skiros here to begin with as the Archon. Alright, so they were able to pay 2 grain commodities, right? Which they're paying for as these. I don't remember where they were, but they got the two for 1 deal. In order to put this Temple of Demeter under construction. And that's over here as a partial construction. The card itself, I don't know what to do with. I'll toss it over here where I've got the other ones. But they paid to improve their construction. They may have just gotten that this turn. I don't remember where people were. But then they also paid 1 of each to get a spice workshop. And now things are really getting cluttered. One of the things I note about not just this game, but a lot of these Euros with kind of an economic theme, they move too quickly for my taste. So for example, this is developing so fast. It's only 3 turns. I'm halfway through the game. No question, it feels like I'm halfway through a game, but it doesn't feel like 1.5 turns through. It feels like several hours into an XX game, for example, in terms of how much complexity there is. There's not a lot of time to slowly get used to the game as it builds. I feel like right away it's at sort of that end game stage where you have to make all these calculations. It's just so complicated for my taste. I'm just not a fan of that kind of speed. I like the early stages of the longer games a lot better than I like the later stages, and these get to the middle and late games so fast. Alright, speaking of which, this guy dropped 3 olives off, so now he actually has the Temple of Apollo, and each other island can pay him a rare to ignore Pestilence for the rest of the game. That's not a big deal. Pestilence isn't out. This happens, though, during the island trade phase, which is to say, maybe it's worth it to avoid Pestilence. Again, though, how do you mark this? I have no idea. I'm supposing you can write all this down, but it's going to be a royal pain to keep track of all these things that people have. Much harder than in most of the games that I've seen. And here they picked up a pottery workshop, so they'll be producing more goods, and there should be 1 of each there. Not sure if that's what I'm seeing. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. 5, 6, okay. Alright, over here, he produced his final village, an ore village, and he also was able to buy a marketplace. Now, a marketplace is important here because it's going to give him the market rumors. Once during the event phase, each island with a marketplace can take a peek at a harbor status card. Well, there's only 1 left, and he's going to be able to look at that. That's kind of cool. The other advantage of it is that he can do what? I don't know, spend 3 basic not produce. Yes, he can create gold at slightly cheaper prices than by trading nearby. How good a deal is that? I don't think it's tremendous. I think most of the other options are more interesting, but we'll see. He can always trash compact stuff at rates maybe that beat everyone else's. I don't think it's going to be used much, though, just because people are more willing to take risks some of the times. Most of the time. This guy picked up a tool workshop. That's going to allow him to build a wall once he gets the tools. But other people have tools already. We'll see if they're building a wall. I think they are. Alright, yes. Not a wall, a fortress, right? There's no wall? Guess not. Okay, so he indeed did. He spent tools and a gold that he was able to pick up to get a fortress. And then he had the materials to buy himself an army, which he's going to place over in the olive village thereby doubling the production of that. He can't place it in the workshop, but he's able to place it as his rarest commodity. Now he can also trade his army, which is kind of a cool option too. And it's going to have to go for a good deal of money. Some people also went to Athens and got new things. For example, this guy picked up a new temple. Temple of Artemis, he wasn't able to pay for it. And this guy picked up the Oracle of Apollo, which he wasn't able to pay for. He might be able to later in the game. It happens at a weird time, and again, so many things you got to keep track of, especially playing in solitaire. I can definitely see where this is going to be a problem. I can also see where people holding 2 gold like this guy are going to be in a bit of trouble. Why is he not? Because he bought a shrine. Now the shrine allows him to spend rares to build gifts of Poseidon, which are very valuable appearing because they allow you to kind of avoid a dangerous hazard. However, are they worth buying compared to some of the other things that you can do with a rare? Well, he could buy another shrine very easily because he can make those spices easily. If he can start trading with other people, he can build different kinds of workshops. But if he has to start trading at sea, it might be nice to have those. And those might go for a good sale. He might be able to trade those for a rare that he otherwise wouldn't be able to get. Interesting options here. Alright, well, I get to vote my Archon, and I have no idea because it's getting so cluttered and so complicated. I don't know who's doing well and who's not. This guy doesn't even have his marker, though. And I think they're going to elect him Archon. He hasn't picked up a wonder yet. Everyone else, this guy doesn't have one either, but he's producing armies. Looks a little more promising and a little ahead. So I think the Archon's going to end up here. Again, this is up to the players. I don't feel like anybody really... I think this is going to be sold to people in discussions, etc. And I think it's very likely that Naxos would end up with it, since nobody's too pissed at him. Alright, I'll wrap this and put it up, and we're doing about 1 vid per card. Painful, but it's not a tiny game, to tell you the truth. Okay, let's start another turn, or another season in Parthenon, sorry. It's another game called Pantheon, I don't have it. So here's the thing. This is still going to be in effect. The Archon is still going to always get to choose to bone someone, and a lot of people are holding some commodities. So he may be able to perhaps extort as he did, or tried to last time. Let's look at the next one. Year 2 event, Market Rumors. The Aegean marketplaces are strong centers for news and gossip. Once during the event phase, each island with a marketplace can peek at 1 harbor status card. Nobody has one, but this just made a marketplace slightly more valuable for this year. I don't think it's going to cause anybody to buy it, but if they can buy it this turn, they'll get 2 looks, which is kind of cool. So we're moving into the production stage, but before we take effect of that, the Archon gets to cut his deals. And he's not terribly thrilled with Lemnos' position. So he's definitely going to extort from Lemnos. I don't think anybody's going to object to that. This is once per year. Some of these others are not. Let's look at... yeah, Stoicism is once per year, but Nihilism, yeah. Okay. Now, you have to remember, though, here's the problem. Well, not a problem so much, but he can't be affected by that first event. Again, no way of really noting that. This guy could also avoid that event if he wanted. He has a resource. Making him fire that off might be desirable to him. What about some of these other players? Well, I think he's going to do that to Chios and make him fire that off. Now he's going to look over at Naxos. How's Naxos doing? Naxos is not doing terribly well, so picking on them would probably create something of an enmity. Picking on Lemnos? Hey dude, you're in the lead and you're sitting on resources in this situation. I want one of them. He kind of doesn't have an option here. He wants to collect olives. Wool is fairly rare for him, but olives are much harder, and that's what he needs. So he'll give a wool card to Skiros. Now, the question is, do you pick on Naxos as well? And if you do, you're going to probably be making an enemy. Naxos is holding a handful of cards. He didn't get a lot of gain, though. I think he's going to lay off with Naxos. Well, he's tempted. He's very tempted. Yeah, he's gonna make an attempt now. No, he hasn't hit Chios yet. Right. Sorry, Chios isn't the one. Who can avoid? Ah, it's the nihilism that avoids him, and nobody else has that. So yeah, so he's going to try to extort from Naxos. Does Naxos want to pay? Well, what's the effect here? If you don't pay, you discard all your commodities. Well, Naxos is definitely going to pay, and he's only going to extort one. He would like anything he doesn't have. So he says anything but wool, olive, or grain. So Naxos is going to give an aura to avoid this. And now he's stuck with Chios, and unfortunately he has to target them, or else himself. Well, he could target somebody who doesn't have anything. Why do that? He's going to target Chios, and Chios is going to pay the grain. He's not made any friends this turn. But the problem is, everybody knew this was here. And he was in the rear of the pack. Alright, hopefully I'm not going to be going into everything in the trading, etc. I think I'm going to jump all the way to the hazard phase before I come back on. We'll see what happens. Okay, so all the players have made some trades to better themselves and set sail with their fleets. One thing I notice is Chios sent a fleet to Athens, which is carrying stuff, but they also sent a fleet, and I don't know if this is even legal, with no goods on it. I think that's illegal. I seem to remember that to be the case. I was thinking, that would be so cool to just explore with a fleet, but there's no risk in that. They're not that interested in it. They want it to make the trades. So let's take a look at what some of the effects are. First, we go to the hazards, and this is for a bunch of the people are staying close. Pirates. Every fleet has to reveal its cargo. The fleet with the most rare and or gold loses all of their commodities. If no one has either, you can ignore it. Okay, let's see what colors are going close. Orange, Fleet A. And I've got to reveal it. He's got nothing. Red, Fleet A. He's got nothing. Purple's Fleet A. I really doubt that anybody's carrying rares or gold at this point. Just a bunch of wool going to Athens. Green's Fleet A is also staying nearby, so he's also at risk. But again, nothing rare being sent. The rares people are looking to use very soon. So that ends up being a no event, and now we have two for the people heading out to Egypt and Carthage. First one, pirates. Same effect. Now I don't think anybody's going to be hit by this, but let's take a look. We got the Crete Fleet A. Actually, both Crete fleets are affected by this, but again, all basic commodities. Basic commodities. Blues fleets are both going this way. Now, if it's going to affect someone, I might play an event after looking and seeing, gee, that'll affect them. But right now, it doesn't appear to be. Red Lemnos. Again, they exposed their stuff. No big deal. Alright, so nobody was affected by that, but because it's the far one, we pull another one, and it's a safe journey card. So people are going to get to trade. We have to take a look at the harbor statuses. First in Carthage. It's a grape shortage. Now, I know this is going to get turned up because these people wanted to make trades. So there's no question it's going to happen. And likewise, the green one to Ionian Tribute. Immediately reveal this card to all players. Every fleet that entered this land without an army has to discard all of its commodities except 2 of its choosing. Okay, green A got hit here. He's able to hold 2 of his commodities. It doesn't really matter what. He'll keep a grain and a timber. And that's kind of a bone for him. This is a card, most of the harbor cards you can peek at without an effect. Now he has no right to ignore it. And nobody paid a gold to get an additional philosophy. Let's keep going.